All right, let's get started. First of all, can everyone on the call can screen sharing? Yeah. All right, so this is test3.footexport.org. So test 1 is the current test site, which, different production, brand application, all the good stuff is currently live. And we use a new location because we don't want to mix up with the current test site. The current test site using for anything goes on production, we have an exact mirror replicate the test and we verify the subfixes. And test 3, we will present the stage 3 of the customization. So this is what we're going to use in demo. So you see, it looks and feel really look the same. And the top header footer, this is from actual from site 50. So when I hover this menu, this is a current menu, it's opening up all the programs and activities. So we actually secretly hijack this menu to open some page. It actually goes to the new activity page. It's not hard to see, but if you look at my Chrome browser in the very lower left-hand corner, right above the Windows Start tab menu, you can see the URL say test3.org/blah blah. So that means you cover over the link. That link is uncertainty. On the other hand, for example, the food export helpline, because I don't have any current event set up for food export helpline, so I cannot create a secondary page for that, otherwise it's empty. So that's why this page still points to production. That's why you can see the link in the lower left-hand corner, say www.food.org. So because the top menu, all the other links point to production. So that's why you click around and start to do testing. Sometimes you accidentally jump to production without realize the location. So make sure all the testing location and the workflow, you're under test 3, that you know, okay, I'm on the new testing phase 3. And I also have a documentation to document all the progress that we did so far. I have a little error point in this 3 link that we update, this 3 we review. So I have a documentation of knowing which one that is able to use the new test 3 site. So the main goal today is to show you demo how that works with registration. So we will not really go for anything like a registration login because the framework is already live. So we will not go to them. So first of all, let's look at the first feature. It's a search feature, which is called Help Me Choose. So I have new links on the last item in the programs and activities. So this is what Help Me Choose. Yeah, I think the screen is kind of tiny. Let me change the screen resolution so it's kind of tiny, right? Or you guys okay seeing the text and everything. If you're small, you guys are okay. Make it bigger. I can make it bigger. I think that's a good idea. Let's try this. So it should be better on the recording and also on the screen if you maximize the screen. There we go. Okay, so this is the new search Help Me Choose screen. In the wireframe that is shown, on the left-hand side, all the search criteria
bring you up to speed on the whys and hows of exporting. Take the plunge. Someone put us on export opportunities and successes may be waiting for you. Right education operations definitely enhance your export. Learn more by visiting our website at www.food.
This is another version of Help Me Choose.
You may have questions unique to your company, products, and export. Food Export Upline is a complex.
Oh, we got it. Great. All right. So on the left-hand side is all the search criteria, industry segment, program of interest, the region country, and the page search. In the wireframe, it shows everything, like all the items showing out, but because of the minute, we show only the first 5. And I'll take a picture that this showing the wire thing, but we just use it so make it UI a lot easier. Show all or show less. And of course, the select all or clear all only show when you do a show all. You do select all or clear all. All right. So I'll show the technique side after I finish the demo. So which about the text on the right hand side you can customize internally with programming change. You just go in to different description using the Sitefinity event. So for example, I want to search all the events for buyer.
One-on-one expert-related topics. Customize expert about specific. Learn more by visiting our website at www.foodexport.org. Food Export Helpline, one-to-one answers.
Right. So the search itself is showing the field that have the event name, age, location, and status of registration. Depends on the event, it will show like open, close, monitor.
Stop by www.foodexport.org.
Program. And then, for example, I want to search it by, let's say, the month of January. I can use a very nice date picker.
Can I just step in for 1 second? Whoever keeps putting on the hold button, please refrain from using your hold button because we're hearing music and we can't hear the presentation. Thank you.
All right, so once you put a date range into a search, and you can see the search is a lot faster because everything's cached. The first time it's a longer time to put an entire list, but as more user system, they have that cache, then the business is a lot faster. So now we only show the one that is in January. So pretty straightforward that you have, the search criteria on the left and the result on the center. And you can click any of these links actually go to the event. So for example, I can click this like Northeast Fire Mission and go to the event file. So the top half, I call it a widget, right? It's not like where my mouse pointer the title, date, location, and then 2 buttons on the right-hand side say early bird registration and request information. This is a widget. It's calling from representation. But everything below that line, all the description, you can control everything in Sitefinity using the great design tool. In Sitefinity, you can have plugin for YouTube, you have LinkedIn, you can create your video library, you can use the layout. It's a very strong tool. That's why we bought Sitefinity. It's a great CMS. You can have any column, row, anything you want within Sitefinity to control the content. So this content no longer coming from that form. So this is the flexibility of the Sitefinity. And on the second half of the demo, I'll actually show you how to take the event code in that form and create a Sitefinity page looks like this, and how to make the widget work more client that you need for Sitefinity. On the right-hand side, this is like they call it 75%, 25% layout. So the content occupied is 70% on the left. 25% on the right-hand side, I got a card icon. And also there will be a wish list icon in the next cycle release. So now we don't have that. And the lower right-hand corner, this space is all for your content. You can put any content you want. You can put your own widget, advertising, rotating ad, anything you want in Sitefinity, you can do it and put it on the page. You can use Sitefinity on all its features. And as long as you have our feature called the event code file here, giving them the event code will pull this information from that form, and this button will draw automatically, so you can use the request information or the early bird registration on your own. All right? Okay, so there's 2 features right here. So let's talk about the request information. So this will open a very nice pop-up. And because currently I'm not logged in, so there's nothing got populated. If I am logged in, my name, email, and automatically will be populated. So I can type my name, email. You can still submit, but it's great because I didn't fill the entire form, so I cannot submit it. So and also when I try to submit, say no, this is required. Once I enter anything, I can submit it. Okay, I'll just go. I can cancel it because right now the email won't send out. It says, hey, you cannot. I think spam filter that because I'm sending from different server. I'm sending in the name of foodexport.org, say, hey, no, you're not the right person. The wrong one sending email. So that's the request information. And then the second feature, which is the main one, is the early bird registration, which goes to the registration wizard. But before I go to it, let's step back and look at other feature on the search and the list page. So earlier we saw on the help me choose. So this is go to the generic search page. But we also have a specific page, one page per event or program type. For example, if I go to Food Show Plus, let's go to the test3.foodexport.org, and it go to a specific, like a standalone Sitefinity page that you can customize. And the top half show the title of this event type. Description, you can use the editor to modify. And then the bottom half is to show the same list, the grid that we view the widget, the search results. It shows all the Food Show Plus event that's currently available. So just show all the lists. And you can, again, customize the content on the top using Sitefinity. You can customize the content on the right-hand side. It's also Sitefinity. And we just have a widget to show me all the events for Food Show Plus. And the same deal go for all the other event types. For example, the market builder.
This location is supposed to be called country in that table.
Not the country. So there's a baseline table called location, which is specify the hotel name or the exhibit hall that's going to. I'll show you how that's set up in iWeb too, and all these data is coming from. All right, it's using the same concept that the status, open, close, it's all like one widget to show all. It is like, I think the requirements say it is early bird can have vacancy, it is full or closed, then you have a put on wait list, a lot of different features all built in. And there's a link say help me choose, and just go back to that search page that we saw earlier. Yeah, all of this like very similar that any event type that you build a page, that in the future, if you have a future newer event type, you can just go to NetForm, iWeb, create a new event type, and then go to Sitefinity, create a new page, and the widget will work automatically once you put the parameter in. So we didn't limit it just like a current 9 event type. It's trackable. You can create any event type you want, any page you want. It will show up automatically. Obviously, that's all the same format and structure. Okay, so now let's go back to the one that I have. So the key thing about a content management system like the current CMS, like a CMS Plus, that each event must have a page to put the content. If you never build a page, the registration will not work. You cannot go to a page that does not exist. So what I mean is, for example, if I go to, let's say, buyer's mission, I know this one works fine because I made this yesterday. You click that, you can go to this link, you put the content on Sitefinity. If I go back and click a different event, which I know I did not set up, for example, this guy, you will see it just stuck back on the buyer mission main page because I never created Sitefinity. It will not broke. You can either see this main page or you can say a page cannot be found because the content from Sitefinity, you must create a page first. So one homework is during testing, you may, with any event you want to test, you may want to create that page in Sitefinity, which I will demo how to do. Because when you go live, you gotta create all those content in Sitefinity first. There are 2 ways to do that. Either your team can do it manually, or we can create script to create all the pages for you. So there's 2 options. Of course, there will be extra cost on behalf of it for our side, for the programmer to build the page. But if you're already doing that in the CMS Plus, I think it's a pretty good exercise that you should do it manually. I think it's a good exercise to get familiar with Sitefinity framework because the UI is easy to use, but it takes some time to learn. We create some default templating. I'll show you a step. It's pretty straightforward, just like first copy and paste, a couple of steps. That's a very good exercise because Sitefinity is extremely powerful. So once you build a framework, you can continue to build more pages in the future. So anything you see right here, that the blog, resources, getting started, about us, everything should be in Sitefinity. Once you learn it, you don't have to hire any consultant. You can just use Sitefinity and build the entire website on your own. All right? So I think it's a very good exercise to do it manually. So that's what we recommend. It's not like if you don't like the work, but I think it's good, honest opinion to do it manually.
Yeah.
All right, so if that's covered the first 25% of the demo is how to do searching, listing, and go to event profile. The second half is actual registration. So let's take the event that I know that is working. This guy. All right. Let's do the early bird registration. I think I have some identity login issue which I need to log in. So because I didn't log in, right? It's time to log in. If you already log in, you actually go to terms and conditions right away. The terms and conditions page do a lot of things. So let's look at what it opens up for this scenario. No saving time. So that's at least 3 or 4 things that it does before it's hitting this page. I'll show you a different scenario. First of all is, am I logged in? That scenario will pass. The second scenario is, you have permission. If you didn't link to any organization, you don't have any permission as a user or any a branded or admin group, then you are not able to go to the screen. You get redirected to a page saying, hey, you don't have permission, please pick the organization. So we have that all built in. And if it's a free event, like a webinar, you don't have to have any permission. You can just register for free. They're all built in. You should have a list of criteria to have different types. And another one is the qualification process. In this example, because my personal login, I did qualify. So it didn't show the qualification. But I'll show you how that looks. That's the qualification process that you have to do once a year to review your organization's demographic information, like number of employees. There's a couple of questions about which they are. I'll also show you the iWebsite. Once the qualification is entered, where it will show you. So those kind of good stuff. And the last cases is, have you registered for the event already, the duplicate check. So that also give you a form saying, hey, your organization already registered. Are you sure you want to register again? So those will show up too. I'll try to see if the time is enough. I'll try to show you a couple of scenarios. But let's get going. So the abstract component is grayed out. You cannot continue because you must check I agree and accept. And then in the requirement, this is kind of funny that they have a second prompt, the second agreement that you must agree on the second statement, that you create a different locking for the different statement. One is for the terms and conditions. One is for the business statement. So you must accept both in order to continue. If you don't do that, the client does this, we can click that. Very standard procedure. All right. The second step is the registration step, and this is the one that you spend the most time doing testing next week because of so many situations, so many scenarios. So again, this is some demo data. I may have something events up that I may not set up quite correct. That's why I showed many things. So let's walk through them. I'll show you different events and what this means. So the top half is just showing the date, location, and then a list of the events that's available. So we think to fine-tune the code, the logic behind what events C to pull. Depending on setup, this one shows 3 of the same event C. It may be because there's 3 regions, one for Midwest, Northeast, and one for all region because my login is a super user, I qualify for all of them, so that's why I show all. We just still fine-tune the logic to, do we need to set up multiple fee, how the fee works. But this could be easily set up as well. There's no customization, but there's something we need to discuss internally with the event team to see how we best set up the event fee. But by default, net form, one person, if I qualify for more than one fee, all 3 will show up. So that's why we use a baseline feature. That's why I show all 3 of them, or 6 of them.
What differentiates some of these qualifications? Is it the region of Midwest, Northeast, or super user?
Exactly.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
Right. So right now, I think these 3 have one for Northeast, Midwest, and our region. I think my account, the way I set up my account, because for my internal testing purposes, my users, like super users, I qualify all regions for myself. That's why it's these three. But in general, if a person, regular user, they're in the Midwest region, they only see the Midwest feed or the Northeast or so on. And this two feed, I think one is early bird, one is the regular feed. Is it true? May not, right?
It's actually maybe because of our relocation.
Yeah.
This event takes place in high
three different stops. The buyers go to 3 different stops.
Mm-hmm. I see. And it also only show the price name. Maybe the price code is different. Maybe you can think about maybe show different names so it don't look very similar.
We have
right?
a different activity page actually for each stop.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone wants to go to Boston, they would select that activity.
No, not the Northeast Buyers Mission. That's
Well, not for this, not this year, right?
Not this year, right.
In
But
the future.
in the
That's how it works.
Yeah. We can define how that works, how we set the event and how we set the fee, because this is just attribute. Like the event, attribute set up.
But for Midwest, it'll be 3.
Yeah.
The additional ones only registration.
Yeah, the ingredient, yes.
Yeah, this goes straight from the product setup that you set the event fee. All right. This one don't have any special instruction on top. If the event have a special instruction, it will show on the top right here. I'll show you some like the setup data. Like you have a special instruction for the event, special instruction for the attendee. Those are special setup that I can show you how to do. So the middle part is the address of the organization. You can click edit, and something's not working. Oh, there you go. Just take a little bit to load. So they show up the address. You can modify them, and then when you save, you update the address. Following that, that is the primary contact person for this registration. And finally, is the list of attendees. They only show the attendee if I select a seat. Otherwise, you cannot continue.
For the, okay, so you can select the primary contact, but you can have different people as far as the actual attendees.
Exactly. So that's a way to understand the requirement that the primary contact person could be anyone in the organization. It could be Susan. And then she may not be going to the event. Maybe Ken and Jack going to the event, but not Susan. But she's a person of contact. And when you check out, she's default on the billing customer. At that time, you can still change who is the billing customer in case you want to use credit card, different credit card, different billing. That's awesome. All right. And then in this event, it doesn't have the demographic question. That's why the panel did not show up. But some event, based on the event type and the setup, it has a second accordion tab called the activity panel that asks like a certain demographic question like where's your market and what product do you try to promote. Those are all programmed in automatically. So let's try to open a new tab and use my secret link.
But this buyer's missions do have a second panel.
Yes, I know that buyer mission. Do I have a second panel?
Yes, that's where they select the meeting times, tracks, and then we also have products.
Oh, I got you. Yes, that's a very good point. It's not in this past event I picked, it doesn't have anything set up yet. If I go to IRAP and set up a session and track for this Northeast Buyer Mission Registration Program, then the second panel will show up. If I set up like a miscellaneous product, like the additional booth, additional table, then the panel will show up. But this event, I don't have anything set up. That's why the panel will not show. It's all programmed automatically. The panel only shows if it has the data that it wants to show. Otherwise, the panel will not show. So I know one example that the, I think it's either the Show Plus or the Trade Mission, that it has the second panel. So let me use my secret link. Because I know this event could have something that I set up yesterday. I just want to register online. So you can see the process is different because it's not early bird, it just says register online. And if it's closed, it will be grayed out, you cannot click it. All right, I'll just go through this again. All right, there you go. So this event do have a second panel. So in this example, I got like a couple questions that, okay, what's the market, and some description, and take, I forgot the actual detail logic, but there's some different events have different questions.
Yes.
Right, I thought there's a huge Excel spreadsheet, different cards. Yeah, that one, yes. So this is so depends on what setup it is. But for the demo, I just want to show the workflow. But in reality, that you show different things depends on different events. All right. So one thing that I ran into a problem last night is when I click register, I got stuck on here. So this is maybe the point that I need to switch to my local environment to continue the demo. But let's see if that works right now. Yeah, still stuck on this page. So let me show my local. The next step is to go to the summary page. I'll go through that using my local environment. I don't have one stuff already right here. So this is yes, we just got a site Tuesday, and Wednesday when all of it locally was fine. But when we deploy the actual Amazon web server, half of them work, half doesn't work. So we worked till very late afternoon to figure out what's going on. So the first half, so far so good. Only when you build a summary and checkout kind of stuck on there. Okay, let me show you one more event, which is the show plus. So actually, I'll show you from here. So this is the Canada show. I don't have to use my secret link. I just convenient. But in real life, the user will go to Show Plus, and all the Show Plus show will show up, and you can just pick that event. All right, the calendar right here, Show Plus restaurant cancel. This opens up the exact same page from my secret link. I just bookmark it so I can use it during demo, but this is the exact same page that I would like to show you. All right. Again, the content is from Sitefinity, and can register. I think this one also has different activity questions to the Show Plus. Yeah, this one has only one fee. Because only one fee, and there's no review button to select from because of default fee. And also, this event has 4 attendees instead of 2. I'll also show you where to set up. We never hard code anything. So let's say in the future I want 6 attendees. Okay, you can just go to IREP, do a change setup, then bam, the 6 drop-downs show up. Right.
And that could be set up for activity or for...
Even in the same activity, you can set up different attendees per registration type. Yeah. So right now, the registration type is supply only. Supply has 4, buyer you can have 2. Maybe in the future you have, a partner can have 6. You can have all those flexible set up. All right.
Or by event type, if you have 2 different buyers, which is one have 4 registrants and another one has 6.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even within one event, different, registration type can have different fees. I think you can even that for the same supplier, you can have 4 in the Midwest region and 6 in the Northeast. You can also do that too. I think make it so flexible that you can do pretty much anything set up you want. Because per fee, each fee can have a drop-down step at number of attendees. And while my local is still loading, it's super slow. Let's talk about the fee setup. I'll probably jump back to IREP to show you the setup. But one thing very specific, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the event fee, for example, for this event fee, $300, $350, it covers 4 persons, right? I can have 1 attendee go, you still charge $350, have none of the rest of free. I can have like a to be determined, which is with this one. I don't want to say blank. It's like to be determined. I'll break it down, put it up to myself. But it doesn't matter how many you pick, 1 up to 4, we still charge the same fee, $350. And I know that some of the seminar is paid seminar. It's a 1 fee per attendee. Is that correct? Great, yeah. So we have a setup that the UI looks exactly the same. For example, it's $350. per attendee. You do the setup. I draw the 4 attendees. Depends on how many person they pick. When check out, I would say like 4 invoice detail or 3 invoice detail. Depends on how many person they pick. That's correct, right? All right, great. I'll show you the setup. All right, great. So my local has loaded. So let me log in and show the last 2 steps of checkout, which is summary page, checkout, and thank you page. All right. Yeah, the locals will be a lot slower than the server. So that's the household issues. It's a Wi-Fi stick on the left.
Oh,
I think it's network. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new Wi-Fi out the top.
Well, funny that because my local machine is more powerful than your current Amazon server. This is i7, 16 gig of RAM. The Amazon server is like, 2 virtual CPU, 3 gig of RAM. So the processing time is faster, but just like to go to Amazon, go all the while, grab the data, come back, takes so much time. But Amazon is right here. Grab data, the data comes back. All right, so let's go to the event that I have. So my local, I think I point to the development instance, so may not have the same event like the test instance. So the purpose is show you the actual checkout screen, but the meet in the test site is a different event type different setup, which you already have. But the development, I'll just show you my local how the checkout step look and how the thank you page looks like.
I was thinking we expected the shopping cart and whatever else you said.
Yeah, we try to figure out, because it works locally, I can show how the checkout works. It's just so Amazon server, when I click continue, it doesn't go to the next step. I think there's something set on the site page itself, because the code is the same code base. Probably some stuff that we can do, that we are working on right now, actually, as we speak, on the development team. But I don't think it'll take too long. So probably by the end of today or even by the end of this week, we'll get it done. All right, I don't have this event. I also have a second secret key I can use. I got many secrets that I know.
No.
All right, grab this guy. Put it right here. Don't show to the user because they just hack it.
Something we'll remember.
All right, you can remember this code, like all these secret keys. 13F70486. All right, oh, this is my local debugger. Let me turn it off so it won't start with that. Or we can start talk about programming. If exclamation mark is currently not triggering step better, totally the same, right? You got it. All right. Oh, this I didn't purposely mean that, but this is the event have any fee setup, or yeah, this one has no event fee setup, so I cannot actually register for that. Ah, great. Let me see which event I actually have set up in development. Let's try this one. Let me make sure I. When we're running the local all the time, that we have some audits like weird stuff. Let me try to change config to test, then it should be better. I'll let my local running for a while. I'll jump back to the checkout. Let's go switch to iWeb and see the iWeb step first, because I don't want to wait locally. Let's go to the test site. So while my local is running, so let's look at how the setup looks like in iWeb, because that's very important that you see how the setup works. And You can also jump to Sitefinity to see how the Sitefinity page works. All right, there you go. So first of all, before you jump into events, we set up a new region drop-down called geographic region. So because right now there's one region called export market region, which we use internally, but there's another region that we use for event, like actual physical geographic location, like in which continent and so on. So those are in the address and phone setup. And in the setup screen, so this used to be very familiar. A lot of stuff is happening right here, like the industry segment, the channel, distribution channel. Everything set up should be under the setup screen. But the region type the country. That's why we modify this country's child form. You can see, like Afghanistan, the export market region is worldwide, but they're in the South and Central Asia. So we build this job down. We're also using the Excel spreadsheet provider to actually convert the data. We already pre-mapped, all the data that you guys identified in the Excel spreadsheet to the correct geographic region in the system. When we deploy to Thrive, we also have the same set of data. But some countries not in Excel spreadsheet, that's why they have null. So you can go back and the data just updated manually.
In the regions themselves, are we able to change those?
Yeah.
Add those like that?
Absolutely. You can add more regions, you can change anything you want. The program will actually pull it dynamically. You won't have to getting up the search picture, everything you're pulling like from database. Okay, so this is the original, food export market region that we internally, and this is the geographic region that we add, the new one that we added. So when you do on the Help Me search page, the region, the geographic region, is based on this stack of drop-down. All right, just want to show you this one first. I think there's only one outside of events that we just set up. So now let's go to the events module. There's a lot of new stuff that is set on events.
We talked about that. So for the regions, I think if we have those, update those on Pascal, that'd be pulled over to live, or?
No, it won't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just do it in production.
On live working.
Right.
What it is.
Right. So the go live day, we have like a weekend and weeknight. That night we deploy everything to live, and we call soft go live the next morning. That the FoodX internal set to go to the site, do all the setup review, and before the launch, so internally you can go to the Sitefinity site to see everything, and then you can switch, just turn a switch, then it will go public. So iWeb, you do all the setup, it's already live, but the public website can still not go live until you already have all the setup. So you still have time to do all the setup. So think about, okay, you go live, people register the event, but wait, there's nothing set up. You have an internal soft go live period. And whenever you're ready, just turn the switch, then it will be public. Okay, so on the event setup, there's tons of things. So very similar on the event module, you have this overview and then event setup. So first of all, is this event type. We added some new event type, I think some of them we added them, like advisor program, college education. These are new in the Excel spreadsheet, that's why we set those up. But we don't, there's no existing data yet, there's no event using this type. So that's why there's no other setup. So let's go through them real quick. So for example, what is this new thing? So first is checkbox say show in activity search. So circle back to the Help Me search page that we saw earlier. On the left panel, remember the I don't think it's called event type. It's called interest, some kind of interest, right?
Yeah.
Program of interest. So this is actually the same list of event type. We have a requirement saying not all event type is shown on the program of interest. That's why I have this checkbox. If you uncheck it, then this, for example, trade mission will not show in the program of interest. So you can turn on and off on this any event type you want. Maybe some event type you use internally like OTC. You probably don't want to show it here, right? You can just turn off and it won't show, right? Program year, probably not here, right? So that's why you can turn it off just by this basic setup. And then the second thing is the deadline date type and the date. So this is at the end on the cycle 1D, we have the activity, my test area to show you, hey, you must complete this post-registration activity on a certain date, deadline date. And on the Excel spreadsheet, you have two types of setup. Is it like a 7 days after the cutoff date or 7 days after the registration date? You have two sets of setup. So that's why you can pick and choose the type of deadline. It can be the day of the registration or the actual cutoff date of the event setup. So for example, if the event cutoff date is December 1st, 2014, and the deadline date will be 7 days after that date, December 8th, 2014. If you set this up, okay, no, it should be 7 days after the registration date. That means if I register today, I need to finish that line 7 days after today, before today. All right? So I think that only applies to OPC. Yeah, because there's a year-long event. You don't wait for the end of the event cutoff at 30 days. No, if I register today, I got 30 days to complete my post-registration requirement, like demographic information. Yeah, so this is very flexible. You can set up anything you want. We didn't use week because I think it's more accurate. Like if you do 1 month, that's 4 weeks, but not quite 4 weeks, right? But that's why we put the number of days. So 7 days month. And then Excel spreadsheet, we don't have anything show on this different event, so that's why there's this blank. This only applies that we only show this for I think for this cycle 1A at the thank you page that will show a message your closest deadline date is based on this date. So on this cycle 1B, this doesn't actually do much for cycle 1A. For cycle 1B, you use this date a lot because activity is based on the deadline date. You must finish your earliest deadline first. So this is what is set up per event type. Okay, and that's only one thing that we add in this area. We also add an event C category, the early bird and standard. So this is a baseline drop-down because earlier, the current system, we kind of use the C code and name. We sometimes spell STD, STND, there are different spelling of the standard, right? But in the program, we cannot easily identify which C is early bird, which C is actual standard. That's why we recommend, okay, let's set up a category and just use the drop down. But of course, we use the actual fee dates we have set up. If this fee available on this day range, it's early bird. So it doesn't matter what the category is. But it's always good to use a drop down instead of like many types of different naming conversions. So that's why we have this converted right here. Nothing changed in the track section or the event category. This is all the existing one. Expense category that's in the chart that we didn't change anything here. So now let's go to a event. So let's find an event. Let's use this guy. M1 side and M1 side. The event profile, we did quite a few changes. The look and feel is very similar. So first of all, the profile page will have this new icon or link called additional info. So we split the main edit page in two areas because now we have a lot more information. So let's look at the main edit page first. So we updated a couple of things. One, we added the bill me only. So if bill me only event, you cannot use credit card. You must use bill me only. You send the invoice and the payment and so on. If the C event, then I think that something show up that you can select number of attendee. I'll come back to this number of attendee in a minute. Remember on the registration, the 4 drop-downs. So this control how many drop-downs draw. So because a free event don't have event fee, you cannot set up the number of drop-downs for attendees per fee. There's no fee at all. So that's why the setup is right here. And secondly, the description. Now you have quite a few descriptions. The short description, the long description, and the HTML description. So currently, this is what we pull the description of the event. But this is going away. We're going to actual Sitefinity to control HTML content and not in iWeb. I did not remove this field because you can still pull from here if you want to. But Sitefinity has a lot better HTML editor than iWeb. So I just use Sitefinity. Don't use this one anymore.
So that the default is Sitefinity, but there's nothing there that it falls back on this?
No, we did not. We can do that. When actually I comment out the code to pull from here, if I can do something to pull from here.
I don't know in terms of just timeline for the transition.
Yeah, I'll show how to create a page. It's super easy. So you think, yeah, really much when you create a page in just like 2 more seconds, get a content. All right, so this is first setup page, and all the remaining original one we move to the second page. So let's take a look at where they are. The second page is called, we just name it additional info. We don't want a better name to do. But this page is all the additional information or the customization that we put or some of the existing ones. So the constraint dropdown and all this go and set up from the original screen. We just move it here. All right, just have more space. And then all the other things are brand new, like the distribution channel, industry segment, country. It was a multi-select before. We changed to a checkbox helper. We call it checkbox helper because originally only saw as a comma delivered in one huge file. You cannot report on it. You cannot program on it. That's why we use the checkbox helper. It's a lot easier to program.
The piece with the regions within the countries under the regions, is it possible to have that stuff in here instead? Because these are all countries within a certain region, and it would make it way easier to select them alphabetically.
The way we program it is we use, because originally we have country. We don't think too much of the rate. Let's keep the same country. Let's say you take like, Canada, right? Yeah, so you click Canada. When you search in the front end, you search North American region, you will find Canada. We program to find the mapping automatically. So I think it's up to you guys to think for internal, do you want to pick country or select region?
Well, it'd be a country within a region is the idea. It's the same piece we wanted to do with the user registration eventually, where you break out a region. I'm interested in these countries within that region. But it gives you, instead of a list of 200-some countries to go through alphabetically,
I got you, right. I remember what you meant by that. But the back end still for the specific country, but the UI can open up the region and if it comes within a region, the UI is easier to flag, right?
Yeah, that was the idea.
Gotcha.
We use that piece. It's already made in iWeb. If it hasn't been named, then.
Right. I think the data structure will not be changed still for the country, but the UI we can change it together with the registration. And so that the by demographic or any demographic, you always have a tree view of region and then country when you order the So the second half is the description. So attendee description, activity description, activity summary description. So these are the ones that I say that if you have anything pop in here, it will show on the public site. That any description you put, it will show on the website. So right now, we have nothing. Nothing show up.
So we have the description here, and we have the description on the main event info.
Yeah, I'm not sure where these go to.
Are these
Oh,
the
let me show the-
instructional text fields?
Exactly, instruction text to like, so the attendee description, this box, it goes to here.
Oh, they're on instructional.
And then the activity description, it goes to here. Like about the first thing we do is to show right, not show, right here. All right, the instructional text. And I forgot where the activity summary description. I think it's on the summary page. You do have a different description on the top of that page, that panel, I noticed there.
Okay.
Right now,
All right, so
the
let's
summary description is for the activity summary report. That's
do some report.
Is that a new field or is that one?
Maybe this exists.
no, we've
Yeah, I
used that
think-
for a while.
I got you. Yeah, remember now. This too is brand new that we put on Sitefinity, but this one is an existing one. I just put them together like more consistently out on the iWebsite.
That's a good use.
The activity evaluation summary. So can you go back? So in edit event info, can you go up
Sure.
in that one? So this other description,
The one right here. The one
yeah, the ones
Job
below.
description,
Yeah, so those,
registration.
where do they, I mean, now I'm counting like 5 different descriptions per event.
It shouldn't be used anymore. I think the idea the short description is used for location. We're going to be using the location field for that now in our form. And then description is what gave us, I'm not sure what event description.
Yeah, I think I forgot the exact coding. Either the short or long description is shown right here, where my mouse pointer is. Right, because event title is short or long description is shown right there. So I mean, in real life that your event has existing data. I think my application will try to map this area for you. And you also can just play around, update something, you can see how it's looking at actual site. All right, any more questions about the event in iOS?
Could you scroll down from there a little bit further? The participants. Could you show the participants?
Participants. Register.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay, so I'm just trying to look. Does this include? We talked about the sort of at the top the unique number of participants. Does this include the buyers?
So right now they're all supplier registrant. We don't have any buyer registrant yet. In 1B we'll have some buyer registrant. So since we are on this registration tab, let's talk about what the changes are. Because we recommended that you combine the 2 region events in 1 region, but how do you see all the registrants, what region they are? That's why we customize this active participant child form. We have a group by the region. You see our region, Northeast West region, and under which region we have the registrant belong to that region. So that will be some data conversion involved that it will depend on the setup and data that will show the actual region of that list of customers. So when you have one event that have registration attendee from both regions, then you can easily identify which attendee from which region for this child form. All right.
Is that going to be breaking out buyer, partner, vendor?
I don't think we have that separate at this point. I just separate by region. We don't separate by the type
So
of
they're not going to have buyers, they're going to have regions. They're international.
And they probably most often in out of the region. Yeah, because in supply, you don't have our region supply, right? So naturally, they become good.
You do.
You do?
Yeah.
Outer regions actually an old category we're not using anymore. So now it's Midwest, Northeast, West.
Yeah, I try not to make a second level because it definitely will slow down the system. We could make a new group called by type instead of by region, or we could show one more column within the region, say that the registration type, and you can sort by the type and see who's the buyer, supplier. We can see I used to think about that the status, right? How many suppliers could you really have on average? Then we try that in the place. If you only have a small number, you may want to use one list. Get a large number of suppliers or supplier, we may want to have different child forms. It's very practical to have a child.
Well, we can take a look at it.
Right. And the last piece in the event setup is event feed. There's 2 things I want to show you. So one is on the event feed itself. So you have this new drop-down, attendee, right here, and then the multiple attendee on one feed flag. So this is control that this event feed will actually draw 4 attendee drop-down, 3 or 2. If you say no, it will not draw it because it's blocking person. And this note for picking one attendee because it's the same person. So that determines how many drop-down we draw. And the second checkbox is the one that I talked about. Do the fee apply to multiple attendee or apply to each attendee? We can set up on the event fee level. So in reality, that you can actually set up a fee for supplier that have a drop-down of 2 attendees, and you have a fee set up for buyer that have 4 attendees. This is potentially making some things up. And you can say the supplier doesn't want or speed up to 4 people. But fire, each person gets it on the back. You can have all these other steps. And finally, the event speed attribute. The only thing I want to show you is the registration type and the region. This is how we qualify which person to get which speed. For example, anyone in the Northeast region who is a supplier, you got this speed. For example, like that, right? So we'll discuss more about all these like setup at the UI. Well, any questions so far on the setup in iWeb?
What if the feed doesn't change by where they're in region? Do we still have to set up all 3 of those fields? Because we're not implementing that as of now.
So right now, these are our regions. We don't have our region. We have these 4 different.
No. So it doesn't matter what region. They could be from anywhere, and they'll get the same fee. So do we still need to set all those up?
No, if the fee is blank, then we think of the fee. You don't have to have one fee because of one whole region.
Okay. The other question I have is like this we create an event. Can you actually show from the beginning on where to go to create an event?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
So you can create event or copy event, which I don't see from here. Huh? You don't have to copy event link. Yeah, I used to, right?
There was on the main page.
Oh, right here. There you go. So you can create event here that, they're pretty much the same thing. Create event, just one page, create event, and done. You got your profile. New event wizard, you have a couple steps to create event. The second step, create a feed, which you can do the same thing in the actual chat form. So this way works fine. Create event feed. But the recommendation is you create a template event. For example, you create an event called market builder template. It's your base event. You set all the things you want to set up as a base template. Always copy of that event. So each year or each region or each country, and you just build on top of that. So that's the recommended way. So you can create one event, you can create it, and it's very straightforward. You can see the screen. That is pretty much just really the event code, title, feed, everything, and then you save. Once you save, you just go back to the event profile, like this one, back here, and then you can start adding a feed using the feed child form. You can just keep adding feeds, set up videos. That's like a higher process to create events from start to end. But we definitely recommend using a template because a lot of stuff, one very good template they can be used all the time. I know we're running out of time, so how to get it for everyone? Like,
this is a priority.
Yes.
all right. So we're almost done. So let's get the code thing up. I should show you, and I will show you.
I would say we can save entities from last. It's a very small subset.
You know what? I actually have a screenshot of doing documentation at the same time because I want to cut some time. Because it's running kind of slow, when I see something, right? So let me show you what it looks like in checkout. Okay, so this is a summary page. This on the screenshot last night. That after you fill in all the information, you go to the summary tab, and you have the event title, and this one just jump back to the registration tab. And then within each event, you can show what you selected, like the summary contact, attendee, the question they answered, the track they selected. And so this is a summary page, right? You can cancel, or then confirm and add to cart, which goes to the check I'm sorry I couldn't show the actual site because it's super slow. Hopefully this will work fine. You take my word, it works. Okay, because I just finished last night. So once they click add to cart, because I click the screen smaller, but this button should get the same line, not the same line. Right? On the checkout step, that for each event, we just have one line: the event name, the total cost of the event, in case you have multiple fee, additional check or product table, you have a total cost here. You can delete or modify. Modify, go back to the same tab we saw earlier. Delete in the prompt, are you sure? Yes or no? And then you have the next, to go to the next accordion tab, which is the billing and payment area. Or you can say register other events, which go back to search, the Help Me search, or Help Me choose page. If you click next, you will go to the next panel, the billing and payment. Looks like, hopefully I have one. Which I don't. Oh, so that way we must wait for it to load up there. Yeah, I'm trying to do actual. Why did it open up?
You plug it in and show up.
Actually, error host. Internet connection speed. That'll work. Yeah. Internet, I'll bring your internet. All right, so let me get back to my page real quick. I know this event worked fine. My mission, which is this one. Oh, I need just the event key. Okay, multitasking is different. Local. My local. Let me put my finger. Yeah, something broke my local too, if it works. We apologize for that. Yeah, that means I cannot show you the checkout tab today. The checkout tab have two panels, which I only showed you one panel on the top half. The second panel, we have the billing information, the credit card information. If the event is billing only, then it will not have the credit card information. That's the only thing in the checkout. And there's one more step, which is the thank you page. That thank you page will say this is the set line, the earlier set line, and also have the 5 related events that you registered, the cost promotion. That's a project I couldn't show you a screenshot of those two steps. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let's try one more time on the site. If not, then it will continue. Yeah, the site's still not working. And the local was broken too. All right, I told up apologize to show you the thank you page and checkout step. But definitely I'll try to fix it by the end of this week. So the actual finished document. This way it start out finishing the document. So let's see at the handy document, and I can go to the site and try it. All right. Right now, so do you want to continue to show the finish track?
Yeah, let's take a look at Sitefinity.
Great.
At this point, basically communication staff and IT that need to see this part. So everyone else, you're welcome to say if you want, but you don't need to be here. We're already over time by about 15 minutes, so feel free to move on with your day.
All right, thank you guys.
Or if you have questions you want to ask before you go, go ahead and do that now.
Any high-level question? I know when you actually text in the tons of questions. Any high-level question you want to ask right now? If you click a lot of things that totally, it's not a widescreen, something like that.
I was just wondering about the buyer ranking process. the interim, I don't know if that's high level or not. The interim buyer ranking process.
Is buyer ranking in this sub-phase?
It's in the 1B, next phase. The buyer ranking is the next phase.
Right.
You're doing it
Correct.
Well,
through iWeb.
manual. Yeah, we're not doing it right now manual. It would be.
But I thought, I'm sorry, it's hard to hear you, but I thought there was going to be sort of this, the previous link was still going to be available. Is that not right?
That is correct, and that was the other thing that was said was that we would make available the link for them to go in and do their registrations themselves. It wouldn't be part of the shopping cart process. They'd be able to get to it after that. But in terms of the iWeb side, that part isn't changing yet.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes. All right, thank you guys. This we continue the same way right now. Ranking.
The big piece was that you have to provide that link for the users to be able to access the old UI page. And we just were aware of where that is in the process or how they get to that.
Yeah, because in this phase, once you've done registration, there's no patience, I think, if you look at the existing registration. We start with the old site. So probably use the portal, the top link, click it, go to the old portal. The old portal, we have links to see my registration, do bias linking.
There wasn't any buyer ranking in the old site. The way it was done was there were two places. One during registration, you complete registration, it would take you to a new web page where you do ranking. The second part was if you'd already registered, you could go to the event activity page where you would register, and there was a button that said, rank for buyers, and that would take them to that same page to do the ranking. So really, we just need something that gives them that portal to rank their buyers.
So we have two that's on top of my head right now, just like quick high-level solutions. One, you can update the email confirmation because at the end of registration, the email confirmation they click it to do bias ranking. That's one way to do. There's no programming change, just update the content of the email template. Option two, on top of like click here to go back to my old portal, and a second line to say click here to go to the old portal for the bias ranking.
There's just nowhere in the old portal to do ranking.
I mean the second link, the link to go to specific page for bias ranking. Click here to go to the
How would they know for what event though?
or you're giving link per event.
Each event had a link that was
Each
the
buyer
event
information
ID,
has
it was the individual.
customized.
It's like a temporary my activity page or my test page. It's super simple with all my registration and link to bias ranking. That might be the second solution.
And the email template seems pretty feasible too. You kind of click your link to click on. What more do they need? Well, this is temporary,
Yeah.
little over a month.
It's finding that link though, because whereas for most of the old branded things, we could just put somebody back into the old interface for branded. In this case, it's unique for everything.
Yeah, which is why it would be tied to the confirmation email. That gives you your unique event and registrant.
Or well, that, and maybe we can have those.
Hi, this is sorry, this is Brendan.
Are you interrupting me, Brandon?
I can't tell.
Okay, so if we can get those links, because we'll know which companies haven't ranked their buyers or not. So we can go out to those companies and say, click on here, we need to get your rankings now. So maybe if we can have those access to those links.
I think the email idea is really good, because if we get CC'd on that email, the activity coordinator does, then we have that too. And we manage to keep that or forward it along, or that seems like as far as interim goes, that's a pretty good option.
third option is on the thank you page. Because you already have the thank you page, you just add one more link click here to revised ranking, just like your current system, right? I think that would be less time. If your entire My Task page is a lot more time to do. So just add one more link on the thank you page, just like the current system.
Yeah, there's a link on the thank you and a link in the email.
Okay,
We'll
and then we
copy
can
we
re-forward
can
it
resend
to
it
them.
between the
Okay,
two.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the next topic is Sitefinity. So I'd like to show you how to actually create a page for the event. All right. Before I create one, I'll show you one existing example. I've got too many tabs open. So this one has actually logged into Sitefinity. All right here. So this is Sitefinity backend interface that you can see that has a very clear UI. The pages is all the pages. Content, different content type. So probably you don't use this for now, but in the future, I'm sure you'll explore many different features. So these are like a high-level, structure of the entire site. Right now, we have three groupings: the account, portal, and program and activity. So account is for all the like a login, logout, change password, those kind of things. First of all, don't change them. It will break your site, right? Second is portal, like individual portal, organization portal, brand portal, and brand portal have a lot of things like the reimbursement, application, tons of things. Yeah, everything is within here.
Can I interject for just a moment? From your experience, if you view a page and because you viewed it, you're logging the page, does that affect the live implementation of Sitefinity?
Okay, not enough. No. It's pretty good like system. Even if you can see, logged by someone, blah, blah, blah. No, it won't affect anything because you can just open it. It just means someone using a page. They may have something working on, but it doesn't mean anything. Unless at the end you click publish. If you don't click publish, it's nothing will affect the site. So program activity. So this is like grouping page we create. You can see quite a few pages we create already. So help me choose, like a search page, the registration, and the free registration. These are two registration wizards that we create. Qualification process is where you do once a year, have its own page. And then everything else, the rest is just for the event, different event type. So one event type have its own folder. So this is the hierarchy, right? Program activity, and then the 5 mission. So this absolutely corresponding to how the site layout is. Just like here, you see the URL, program activities, 5 mission, and that's how we set up in the backend too. So that's how we construct the URL based on this, hierarchy. So first of all, you should look at two things. One is the event type page. Second is the actual event page. Those are two pages that you're most likely to create or modify. Let's use by mission. So just click on that. You go to the Sitefinity interface. If you took the training from the Sitefinity training, it should be very familiar. We didn't use too much of the accessible widget. Is really like bare bone minimum, but it's already really powerful to make a page happen.
Is that section where you went to the buyer's mission? Is that where all the pages will live? So let's say there's an About Us page, other general content that's not an activity.
We didn't do any of those yet.
Okay, but that's where it will be, right? Is that
yeah,
correct?
if we're outside program activity, I believe it could be on the main area of Sitefinity.
Yeah, it wouldn't be under program.
Right.
Those are the headings.
Right.
To the different areas.
So they may be an About Us. Right, okay.
So this page currently, you can see a layout that we are using the export event type template. This template we built. But this template have already all the red area you cannot change. I'll show you how to create one. I'll show you one existing one. So this is you can update the content, the description, which is the HTML editor. This show, I don't know why. It sometimes shows that, oh, you want to stay on the page. Oh, yeah, sure. This is the built-in editor for this one content block. You can do anything you want, or HTML. You can do CSS, link, tons of things, more formatting options. A lot easier to use than therefore you can put content from this area. This all Sitefinity. So you can put any content you want. You can customize it. Second Again, this one, you cannot change it. It's a widget that we built, the Help Me Choose button. But basically, you can still change it, but not on here. So you change it on the actual template. You code on the template. It's just a button. They go to a Help Me Choose page.
For the top text, for instance, if we added a third paragraph, would that resize automatically, or do we need to change
the
template?
So this, you don't have to change the template. But if you make it so powerful, you can just put content here. I want to put it right here. Okay, done. You got second content. Wait, this content, I want 2 columns. Wait, I want 2 columns, 25, 75% right here. That's the content. 1 content on the left. Oh, this goes here. Page. I want this drag to. It won't allow me to drag and drop. So we create a new one to here, and then I can remove this guy. So you can see how easy it is to construct any content structure you want. The right-hand side is content block. I leave it open. You can do anything you want here. You can create your own advertising widget and drop it here.
On this page, we're entering the page or the template right now?
The page.
Okay, so we can make changes. We have a template that's in use, but then we can make changes on an individual page, or we can make a change in the template that would apply to all pages.
Right, exactly. The template, I only have the default one, has the title here, the shopping cart here, the default white content column here. You can change the template layout and affect all of them. And then also have the search button. And lastly, this widget. This is called the event list widget. And you can edit. And you can see I passed in the NetForm event code. That's how it put all the events to the widget inside Trinity. And that's it. This is a page of the event type. So let me save it. So let's say that you have a new event type called the advisor program, which I don't have a page right now. I want to create that advisor program. So I don't have advisor program here, right? This should be under the program activity, same level as all this guy. So under this program activity group, I can click action and then create a child page.
So all programs and activities will now be pulling from Scientific, correct?
That's the intent. We do have kind of different styles of page. One style is where we list a bunch of different activities of that type, and the other is where we have an activity like we have a helpline. That is the activity. There are no list of them. It's simply the activity at that line. Do you want to register for it or not? Does that fit within this template design, or is that going to be listing an event just like all the other ones?
I'm sorry, didn't get you a question.
All right, helpline. It's different from like a buyer's mission. Buyer's mission has a whole bunch of them throughout the year to list. Helpline, one event. You go to the page and say, yeah, I want to do it or not. It's not really a register for this event. It's more of a, yes, I want to do this thing. Do we need to set up a different template for that?
You can do 2 ways. If you use the same template, the grid will still show only one list on the grid. That's not that pretty. It's workable, but if you know there's only one event, you can create one page called the OPC or the helpline and have a button just
I think they should have one template for those with multiple activities.
That's like the market builder, OPC, and something we thought of ahead of time, and now I'm seeing that. That's our current site is we have 2 different styles of pages.
Yeah, it's very flexible. Right.
So we use them having like an ongoing page?
Yeah, sure.
And then we can list.
Well, like we do now. I mean,
all the difference is one has a list and one doesn't.
Right.
On the other hand,
well, I'm saying your workaround is that to have one page for like OPC, market builder, all that stuff.
Well, each one also has its own page.
Yeah. It'd be a template, and then one template would apply to one type of event, one would apply to the other type of event.
These are all. Yeah.
We have events with overlap like OPC, where one opens up and the other one's still ongoing, and that might be beneficial to have those lists.
Then you would have.
We'll do some internal. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that spawned by this.
Yeah. You're going to discuss the entire site migration, the whole site map, about us, all the other info block. It's kind of this discussion too. All right, so this is all Trinity and HTML. You define a page name, anything you want to call it, and then the URL name. Normally, I try not to use special character spaces, because sometimes browser doesn't like special character. Like that is fine. But for show plus and exclamation mark, that's not it happens, right? I can have it on the title, but not on the actual link. You know, URL probably don't want to. That's why I default it will say advisory-program, but we have no special character definition. This all citation here. You can create title, description, search field. This is where you pick a different template. And we have 3 different templates. One for the main site, one for the event type, and one for the event profile page, which it comes up with.
So that would be.
Yeah. So this is the main template. Just have the head footer, nothing. The head banner and the footer banner. And the event type has a header footer banner, and also have the list of events, the shopping on the right-hand side. That's a template. And the profile page has a special widget for the profile widget and the shopping cart. That's it. I'll show you how that looks. In this case, it's the event type template. And done. And done. You can create a page and back to the list, or just create a page and go to the edit right away. So you can see this grayed out because this is draft and never publish it. So this page got created. And then you can see the page already have a lot of detail in there. Have the header, footer, and then once it opens up, you have all this like a predefined widget that I have. So the event list, you update that and then put the matching net form event type, like advisory program. I don't know how that was called, but assuming that is existing type, right? So once you say that, it will, oh, it actually the correct name. Oh, there you go. All right, so it works right away, and you can put any content you want here.
When you click on one of the events down below, does that take you to that profile template?
It will, yeah.
So is it possible to just use the profile template?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
Okay.
Or like help line where it's just one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this template goes right to it. Yeah. That would really, that's right now what we have is the process where it takes you to a page and then takes you to another page where you register, which is sort of the clunky way we had to do it.
So and then are they going to the event list to actually register?
Yeah.
Is that where the registration takes place?
Yeah, so it's currently how it's set up right now. So if they go click under the drop-down buyer submission, it comes with the list, and then they click on the actual event, and that's the, yeah, it's the same how we do it.
So you can see some of the
yeah, he's just showing how to set up legislative list.
Some of these are locked, like a shopping cart, because this is how the template works. I don't want to remove them. But once you change time, you can unlock and change things. This is also locked. All the other things are practical. You can change anything you want. So and then you can publish it or save a draft, and done. That's how you create the actual event type. So now the second one is how do you create the actual page for an event, the actual activity. So let's find one example that you have in your public website. One open. Okay. So buyer mission, let's pick this guy. How about this? Frozen food buyer mission AFFICO 2015.
Can we do a different one? Because that one has
sure.
weird with pricing. So just the one below.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So
this one removable articles.
yeah, that one's fine. Yeah.
So all I need is 2 things: the event code and the HTML description. The 2 things I needed. So this is a buyer mission, right? So when I go back to my Sitefinity, on the buyer mission, I have like one set up right now. All you need to do is just click here and create a trial page. Same view. And the page name, right now we program to use the event code. Do you know the code of the event on top of your head, or I can check it out?
Oh.
15. I think it said GP. Didn't they change all of them?
There I am now.
Yeah.
All right, I can follow it.
I don't remember. If you go down to the download where
go here.
The download,
from the profile.
yeah, it'll say the code at the very end.
Oh, M15PFM.
Oh, good.
M15. All right, so this is the title of the page. You can name it anything you want. all my programming care is actual URL. So this you can put a meaningful name.
Pulling up that top area from iWeb.
Exactly. Okay. Well, this actually goes to the site, right?
Okay, I see three different things on it. So the top one is the name. That can be anything you're saying. The URL means the actual code. That's the critical piece. Right. And then there's a title for search engines as well. That would
just anything you want.
Oh, so the URL has to be the activity code then.
And then the template. Now you take the event profile template. This guy. This time you create and go to. Sometimes that I find a bug online saying that if you create a page, it's stuck on here, like this. It just takes like 2 seconds to go to the page, but it's stuck. It just refresh, hit F5. You go back to the page listing, and then you can still go to it. Stop and page. Oh, there you go. More hiccup. All right, the page got created. I was in editing mode, but somehow got stuck, so that's why it's not grayed out, but it's all red locked by me.
In terms of this data site, are the server resources sufficient for it, or is this kind of the way?
The way they build it is the more you use it, the better it is. They use intense caching in memory. If I'm the first person to literally click the list of page, it takes a long time to load. If I'm the first one to hit that event page, I'm the first suffer. So once you hit it, the next person is read it. Because I'm the first one creating this page, that's why it's longer. Okay.
Yes, for extra, I was thinking more for internalized staff doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, same thing here. If I'm the first one to do like admin, setting, page, content, I'm the first one to suffer. But as more people using internal, it's doing a lot.
You know, each week we've done that.
Yeah, each recycle, we put everything.
Also, there's a reboot.
Yeah. So this is a basic event template. Right now, we didn't hard code to use a page name or URL to pull this event profile. You can still edit that and put the event code here. Because potentially, I'm thinking URL could be something else and have a more meaningful URL.
Yeah.
So that's why we didn't hard code it. So the event name could be different. The URL could be different. We didn't finalize that yet. We still have some room to change. But this widget will require you to put the event code. And this is where we put it like button, name, and so on. So this control all this cool stuff. And the shopping cart is fixed right here.
Where does the URL get set?
Which URL? It's in the programming. It's in the programming. Like a list of events, the data grid. You can hard code the path, matching with vicinity. If you want to change, you can decide that before go live. So now the content. So right there, got the content from. So I can go back to my public website. This is the actual website. I can just highlight all this. Control C, back to my Sitefinity, do a Control V. And you can map all the images, all the HTML perfectly. If something goes wrong, you can change HTML, you can change some of the link. You know, you can use this, all this like gray feature, create a link. You can use a link with the same size, so on. All right, and that's it. That's how you create a Sitefinity page for one activity. And you can publish it. Oh,
well, I noticed that just copying and pasting seems to break the page. So would copying and pasting the HTML?
That's the yeah. Does that HTML will that pretty much carry over?
With that, can you copy and paste the? Because if you go to that page that you just created, it looks like part of it's broken compared to the actual page.
It could be. Yeah, depends on how this was set up. House HTML tag. If you open a tag, you then close it. When you work in like in that form, it may not work in like Sitefinity. So it depends on how good this HTML is, and most likely copy you want to review the HTML before actually fixing.
So they're probably going to be fairly consistent.
I think this is. Yeah.
So
most
when
of
it was done this way, it was fine in that form, but when it's done this way, it doesn't work right. It's going to be identifying what those issues are, and then for each one, you probably need to go, okay, we've got a heading or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we did it, half-assed. And that's all we could do.
Yeah, this link are all
Maybe
working.
having to set up each page back again.
Where'd you see it's broken?
Yeah,
Or
formatting, right? For example,
in that they tweak it.
yeah,
Okay.
this one
Same
to the
content.
right-hand side,
Format.
like this guy, right? It's all formatting nicely, but it's not like
Maybe we'll
this
do easier to
integrate.
code then.
Well, it looks, I mean, we're now switching over completely to Sitefinity, so for these pages, right? So maybe better setting up a template for it.
So in terms of these event setup pages, this could run start today for live, right? None of this is live on the site yet. We could get all these ready to go, and then it won't really matter until that menu gets switched over to Sitefinity when we go live. So it gives you a little more time to do this for December 2nd.
Is all the 2015 event information there yet on the present site?
And if it's not, then there's nothing.
But there are some missing pieces from the iWeb perspective, right?
But this is just going to be,
This is just one.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to set up all those events yet, but in terms of the activity piece and how it looks, that needs to be done ahead of time. You know, we're going to have generic staff doing stuff the night of or the day before, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So now, if I go to this page, I just created this page, right? The Global Pet Expo. It will, show up what, just create. Yeah. There you go. All right, page show up. And the formatting looks a bit funny. And also because the site CSS is different, maybe this class called something, but it meant something here. So that's why the layout looks a bit funny.
It may be best to set up a template for this, yeah. I mean, we still have the same content, it's just setting up, and then once we set up one for buyers, especially each type of activity, then just copy from that. Okay.
Yeah, you can set a template just for buy edition too. You can do so too.
But then we have to have a template for the food show plus. And
Yeah, create one for each, and then
Activity type.
then just create, yeah, we have the content already, it's just plugging in everything else.
So template is under Define Page Template. I'll show you the, okay, 3 of those.
Do we have a place to store file, like images? Can we upload images?
They should go to the same things.
Okay. So do we no longer use, use our current CMS class?
Correct, yeah, we don't want to be playing with that. We want to move our content. Eventually it'll all go, but for now, stuff that we're pulling, yeah, it would make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Pull from the site, please, rather than something with one.
In terms of copying and pasting, is that creating reference points to images on the CMS, or is it literally taking the image and
Exact copy, 2.2 wherever the public site. So template is also hierarchy. You can see this is the event type template, and it's like actually based on the product name site template. So you can have a child template based on the event type. We call it by mission. It's under this event type template. So that's the exact same layout, but here you can put something different in here.
So how would you say that as a child one?
So when you create, you can see who's the parent template. Let's say if I go to add a new template. Create template.
We all went through the training, but it was a while ago.
Can you refresh? Yeah.
Connected in reality because we didn't really have a hands-on environment to apply what we were learning.
I think going over like that first session that we did would probably be
Yeah, we do have that recorded.
so, yeah.
if anybody's misplaced that, just reach out to me.
Strongly recommend going over that.
This you say, do you want to use a template for this? Yes, I do. So you can say I want to use the event type template as my parent template. So I create a new template called by mission template. It's under the Food Export event type
And
template.
do the event type, or would it be the profile?
Event type.
Because the profile is what I call the page.
Oh yeah, that's correct.
I am paying.
Yeah, correct. All right. It may stuck here again. Now this time it works. Right, so you can see already putting all the templates from that template, and some is not editable, some is editable, and you can build on top of this template. And each area, so let's say this is the event profile that they can edit and put in here, right? Let's say you don't want people to change it, you can say, okay, no, they cannot change it. This is from the, I cannot change this because it's from the parent template, this lock. So because the parent's lock, we still can allow it from here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still change the parent and apply all the child underneath. All right.
So when an event is created in iWeb, does a page has to be created in Sitefinity as well? So whenever it's created in iWeb, really it's boot until it's created, and it doesn't appear until it's created in Sitefinity, right? Okay.
Yeah, but the trick is because if you create the event iWeb, let's say put it like start date, end date, if it's already set, it will show on the grid, like on the search results.
Oh, I get that.
On web.
And
Yeah,
if you
don't
click
put
on
it
that, then it
right.
just doesn't go anywhere then?
The recommendation is to set the event iWeb, but do not set the post to web date. Don't set the post to web date. Stop building Sitefinity. Make sure it works fine, and then set the post to web date, and it will show up.
Okay.
It's nice that you can do a lot
I'm
of
putting
things
future date here.
Yeah.
as much as possible. Build your templates, you know they're coming, you have them half done, you know, wait for those details. When the generic starts building, then you start plugging the details with kind of, but the big key is for them not to be putting in a post to web.
You can get rid of the damn download flyer button. Sorry. All right, cool.
All right, so that's all for the training. Any question on Sitefinity, iWeb, UF, checkout, except the checkout console you process that?
I have some questions. Mobile design. So for branded, obviously, we're going to do an application on their phone, but people might actually register for events.
Yeah, that's responsive mobile.
Yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure. I thought you were doing that as you designed.
Do a magic to make this a mobile web page. So let's say the lower right-hand corner, see the Windows size. A typical iPhone is like 640 pixel wide, right? Let's do 620. And this will expect how the people will look at your site in a mobile phone like this. If you go to event profile, it will be like also the header footer is still the old header footer, it won't respond. It's not responsive. Yeah, and the content will be responsive. So you can see this like automatically wrap around, you know, to column stuff. We use a bootstrap framework so you can see when it comes to a certain point, it jumps at that point, you know. And make it bigger, it kind of like, you can see it just jumps at a certain point, right? It's all built in, you can control that logic. But when you do an actual public website, if you do want to do mobile, the header footer needs to be mobile, for sure. Because right now it's not mobile. Everything is like, right?
Locations in iWeb. Can you take a look at that?
Oh, sure.
I took a look at it. It doesn't seem to be tied to something. It's
Location
write it in.
Is in the general. This location. So you will create a location, which is the organization record. So for example, if this is hosting in a food export, that maybe a hotel is a location, because when you search location name, this is the organization. You can search and search this is full organization system. Some customers, they don't really have, because the goal is the hotel name, the exhibit hall name is a organization record in your system. So that's why you can search, okay, it's in a Hilton Hotel, room number 75, or whatever conference room. That you can have that. That's the way they want to do. But if you don't want to store any hotel information, you can always just use Felix Report. That's fine. You can search for anything.
We've got a ton of locations.
And
basically, what we want showing is this is in Chicago, Illinois. This is in
city name.
And so that's kind of the goal of this. We don't really care about the hotel, et cetera. We just want to show that city that is what we used to stick in that short description.
So all you need to do is just create one location. It's called default location type, anything you want. And you don't have to use any of these address. And just save that. And as long as you have this location, you just put like Chicago in the location name.
Okay.
And any event, just keep using the full export. That's fine. whatever text you put in here, you use this text.
Okay.
Also address. Correct. Exactly.
Location name. Yeah. So we're just using location name in that grid.
Exactly.
So currently there's like a short description that shows this information. It just needs to be.
Exactly. So that's why you created template event, have location set up, and the future event.
Well, with that in mind, can this then be done with the data conversion instead of having to do this for kind of event?
Right. I believe so.
I don't see any reason why we want to start making organization records for all the hotels we're using. Right. And then you can just
Yeah,
the one all across the board and just pull a short description and stick it in that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
All right. You write the commercial script or expect us to write the commercial
Oh, that's
script?
what I was asking.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That's not in the scope. I'll see if you can do it.
Another one really needs to tie together the soft go live idea and the testing timeline. So next week, obviously, is Thanksgiving. Most people take at least Friday off or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. We had a big event going on this week, so we've got a lot of staff out today. We're going to do our steering committee meeting tomorrow because we weren't able to do that Monday for this event. So this is a horrible time for testing.
Well, it's perfect time for CRISP, because in the contract has CRISP. So the purpose of CRISP is to test on behalf of Flexport. So we've done our internal testing, we find some okay, I lost it internally, we fix those. But once the delivery we have the navigation crane, it's all working, right? It's you guys, you got tested. But now, CRISP, we do actual testing on behalf of you guys. And even you test different browsers, different machine Mac, PC, click around and try to do like an edge testing. So you don't make little thing up. And also he has a couple of requirements. You know all the things that talk about different event types, different questions. You know all about that already. I did an internal training for him. So once the site is up, you can start testing on behalf of you guys. So next 2 weeks to just banging and keep testing. So that's why we need that resources.
Our goal had been to finish our test, our first run of testing by close of business tomorrow. But we're not going to be able to do that since parts aren't the
even one day is kind of short to test all the features. There's so many set up that you
problem
need
is
opportunity first to have the event available.
We've got to give it back to you, give you a shot at changing or fixing anything that's broken, comes back to us to test again, and it has to be soon enough before the holiday that someone's here to test it.
You mean the Thanksgiving holiday?
And with all the different staff,
Yeah,
different time off. And then we've got till the 1st, which means even if we send it to you on the 28th, you guys have your holidays too, that gives you basically 1 day to do any last-minute fixes before we go live on the Tuesday. So that's why it was such a short turnaround time, because that holiday really threw a wrench in everything. And then that also ties to the whole idea of a soft go live. When would that take place? Is that going to cause conflicts with the live site if you've already done the back end of it? And our site's trying to pull from a database that now no longer matches?
No, they wouldn't. So we put everything, so you can start like new setup, but just don't change the header menu. Everything's still like normal. You can go to iWork setup, go to setting setup on the back end, but just the main site link wouldn't go to it. But you're still using, if you go to location like the program activity/file mission, you can still go to the same page. Internally, like a soft go live, that's a soft go live period.
How soon can that part of it be delivered? Can that be earlier in the process than the December 2nd go live, or is that December 2nd and then we choose when we actually go live for the outside users after that?
So we could get a test site ready today, hopefully end of the day. If not, end of this week, which is tomorrow. And then your testing start this weekend or next week.
Right now. Wow, hold that thought.
Yeah. So what? Someone can remind what's the go live date? I don't know on top of my head.
Go live.
Actual live, real live, not soft go live.
For 8, or I'm sorry, for cycle 1A.
Yeah.
I think it was in January, maybe first or second week.
So we still have a whole month in December. Right. We might talk about the December 2nd.
That's for soft.
Okay,
That's
soft
right,
go
December
live.
2nd. But there's also, I'm not sure if there's an internal decision that needs to be made about cycle 1B, because there's a lot of buyer options that if we went live, we would have like half of a working system and half of our registrations would have to go through together, or those types of registrations.
Yeah, remember, end of the year is like real go live day. I don't know, the December 2nd is soft go live day. I don't remember on top of my head. But if December 2nd is soft go live day, this is too tight because of Thanksgiving holiday next week. There's no way that anyone would have a chance to have everything. And we have a chance to turn around and fix everything. That would be really tight. But we still have 6 weeks before the hard go live day. I mean, I would recommend that the first or the second week of the, let's set that if the December 31st is the day we must go live, the hard go live day, then we have 1 to 2 weeks of internal soft go live. So sometime around December 15th, assuming that is soft go live, then we have 2 weeks internal to set all the setup. Then we could have 3 to 4 weeks to have testing and turnaround. If that is correct, of course, I don't quite remember. If Jeremy is still on the phone, you may double check the contract that we have an actual soft go live date marked or the hard go live date in the contract.
So the dates that I have are cycle 1A. We would be given to them on December 2nd, which I guess would be like a soft go live. And then I have 1B, January 21st. So essentially all of cycle 1, which includes A and B, should go live on January 21st.
So does that mean that cycle 1A would ever be pushed independently of 1B, or is the overall goal to have them working together on a soft go live and then push?
My understanding is independently. 1A should go live, we'll go live first and then register.
I'm not sure if that date's been communicated.
So we're thinking is December 2nd a soft go live day or the actual live day?
That was the go live date.
The go live day.
Yeah, that was it. We didn't understand there was going to be a soft go live to begin with.
Yeah, because if we deliver today, yes, we have like about 10 days to testing bug fixes and set up everything on Cybeunity. 10 days.
Yeah, we thought it seemed really tight.
Yeah, plus the holiday. And we don't have 10 days, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that was our concern when we saw the time.
Actually, we have 5 days work. We don't have 5 days. So we never actually thought about, oh, it was Thanksgiving weekend. So 10 days become 5 days.
And, you're talking about the testing that your resource is going to be doing, but part of it for us, too, is looking at it and going, this is what we envisioned, this is what it looks like, where does it match, where doesn't it? And so it's not simply, it's broken, this isn't what we asked for. It's part of this process. So it's not simply going to be, yeah, everything's working, magically, no bugs, everything works great, but there's still going to be things where this is actually what we meant. It came out this way, that's not quite right. There's going to be time to fix all that for us to look again and go, no, we meant this. Because we've seen that's the process. It takes a few tries sometimes, and we've got this short time frame. That was part of the intent of turning it around quickly, and people were going to walk out of here and just test the crap out of this today and tomorrow, and now we don't even have the full process to test. We have one team that's just doing shopping carts, and they're not even going to be able to look at it until that gets resolved.
So we definitely should to have the site ready tonight, like 20, and let's plan tomorrow. And next week, if you all the bugs, like the high level, you spend a day to test all the high level bugs of the server. And then we can spend next week, 2 or 3 days before Thanksgiving holiday to fix all the bugs. Then hopefully we can get back to you by Wednesday. But then no one will be testing over the weekend.
Yeah,
I think we can get for the first round. The second round is tough because just Friday and then the following week is so large. We're missing the second round.
So if we got you something close of business tomorrow, is anyone working looking at it over the weekend, or is everyone off and it's not going to be till Monday?
That's no such thing holiday.
Well,
I'm sure you have.
Because if we have 2 extra days in there that are time for you guys to be working on it, that's one thing. If there's not, that's a different scenario.
Yeah, there will be at least a day on the weekend that we can get the high level of fix for sure. So let's say you got the first one on Friday, you fix on the weekend, and then Monday you come back on a new release so you can test again. You find anything on the first 2 days, we fix it on Wednesday or Thursday, and then the holiday. And come back the following Monday, the second one, the third one on the first, then the second one we can have the fall cover. That's really post-production.
Question. All right. So.
Yeah, for 1 day testing, turnaround is not just on the internal testing. 1 day is tight for the amount of presentation.
Yeah, I agree. Right. That's why we wanted to have a day and a half. Was the intent today? That's why I was trying to do today or even sooner. But the hard part is beginning testing without a full product that you can go from start to finish. And it's really pointless running at the start because no one can actually do it.
Yeah, right now actually you can starting the search, the listing event, finish the event feature, the different combination like a drop down of attendee, the question show up. These you could all test, right? But just the summary and checkout, you can do that.
A lot of it too is the back end. Did the records get created properly?
Exactly. That would take longer.
So what happens is you ask everyone to go through this, and they do the half of it, but they can't finish it. And then when we make them come back, they have to do that half again.
Well, because the event already set up, right? You're keeping it all the event have set up and show correctly on the Affinity site. That's the first half. Then they take you, I think, more than a day to test. So that's key for them.
Well, we do have 10 to 12 people with different roles assigned to them in testing. So it's not just 1 or 2 people doing this. It's about a third of our organization was ready to test and get this knocked out.
Yeah. So definitely you can start that to know for sure. So don't wait on this start schedule like set the event, all the C, attendee, question, the 7 or 9 event type, all the different attendee, different one question, all set up, all the testing is done tomorrow.
The other piece of this is the navigation documents for people to use.
Yes, it's almost done right here.
We can have those tomorrow too. That would be the other piece that people want to pressure how it works. It's just right. All right. So we get as much as we can do tomorrow. We'll be taking a look at this. Probably look at it as we go, but we'll probably sit down with the group once we put all this together and look at it with the comparison of wireframes, what it actually looks like. There'll be a separate list. We'll go ahead and prioritize that so we can hit the ones that just need to be fixed before we go live versus we can clean this up on the back end. It's not quite right, but it's not broken or wrong enough to matter now. That way we can at least try to stick to our go live because, of course, this all ties into our timeline. The next phase of the project, the completion date having to be done before the end of January, otherwise it finances and all that stuff. So we've got a small, like a week and a couple days of wiggle room, and that's all we got in our current plan for phase 3, 1A and 1B. It's a pretty tight time.
All right.
Okay. In terms of your developers for the holiday, are they all available except for Thursday? Did a bunch of them take off? You know, what kind of resources do we have?
So normally they have on Thursday, Friday. Thursday, Friday off. Right, but I think that if they want overtime, we see over that we can work on. I think if 1 or 2 people can available, even if the stuff comes back tomorrow, then we can get it.
We'll have something for you at the end of this month, even if I'm putting it in it. Okay. We'll have some initial results for you.
Yeah. I'm sure to just set up a plot that the event fee or the attendee drop down, those would be a lot of set up already.
The plan is to have it go directly into Asana, so you should be able to see those tickets. We're not going to give them to you right away, but if they want to start taking a look at what initially comes in, they can do so. It's just we're going to vet that information first. Find out what you guys didn't have up to this, so we need a screenshot of that before we pass the law. So that's the plan of action. We're going to have 3 people putting those in. 1 that's working with our generic staff that's the program area, some of our liaisons that are the interfacing with customers dealing with the site, and then from our finance people who will be looking at the shopping cart
repeat like the next 10 days.
So the soft go live, what's the earliest date for that where we could start doing the event setup on the back end?
December 1st.
So the first would be
the first like.
So it can be the first, or it would be the first or second, depending.
I would say the.
Because there are two different implications there. One is you've got a day to do stuff, and that would need to be first off, would come up go live the second in the evening, or the first in the evening, so it's live on the second.
I would say Monday evening, that's the appointment, and then Tuesday morning we have Tuesday all day, do all the stuff you want to write, and whenever you're ready. I mean, Tuesday morning is soft live. And when that's all the setup, you have done the security, and we can switch the on the banner, on the site.
Can we do Sunday, where we go our soft go live, so Monday can be used for that? Because
yes,
what I think is going to be wanted is that Tuesday is live, or Tuesday night is the latest live. But if we give them one day to put everything in, I think there's going to be
yeah, because I'm expecting there will be some more buckets during the Thanksgiving weekend. So, like, I'll have one more release on the Sunday night for you to test. So Monday, you will actually do testing. I'm expecting that happen.
Yeah, what I wanted to do Monday was one last test through and make sure everything got fixed for working or whatever. If it's a soft go live, then at least they can use those links and check the pages and do all that sort of stuff. So we can have some staff that are putting in all the details and setting up the events, and other staff that are checking to make sure they look right, and others that are making sure the process works. So that
yes, we can be on the 30th. It doesn't be a problem.
And at least this isn't as complicated as Brandon.
Yeah, but it's a lot tighter than Brandon. We only have 5 days to test the entire thing. There's a lot of different tests.
We've got one that goes through February, basically. Evaluations is next, and then my recommendation is going to be that we use our third cycle of this to clean up, give you guys time to clean out all the bugs that are left, because we've just been pushing nonstop